Okay, so now we are done with the different type of tissues, and we will starting the next topic, that is organ system in the different organisms, that is the cockroach, frog, and the earthworm. So we know the four fundamental tissues which are observed in the animals, higher level of animals, and we also know that these different tissues come together to form a different type of organs, and these organs are responsible to carry out a dedicated function in a particular organism, and all these organs come together to form an organ system level of organization, where each function is basically each function is carried out by a single organ, but all together all the organs together are responsible for a proper functioning and proper survival of that organism. And hence we can say that having organ system make the survival more efficient and more easier for the body particularly. Okay, and it helps in better coordination of the activities of millions of cells. This organism will be consisting millions and billions of cells, but these cells, until unless they are not grouped in different type of organs, they will not be able to carry out the functions in a synchronized manner and in effective manner, right? So it's important for all these cells to be grouped into tissues and then into organs, so that they can function and they can carry out different functions at the same time in a coordinated manner. Okay, and by the level of complexity of organism, like what the level of complexity is observed in that organism, we can also get to know the particular evolutionary trend of that organism. Like the more the complex organism is, the more it is evolved, we can say, right? So the level of organization, if it is a cellular level of organization, we can say it's not that much evolved, but if it is it just we can say right now. Okay, so when it is it's basically having higher level of complexity, we can say it is highly evolved. Okay, so it also shows the evolutionary trend as well. Now we will be starting with the cockroach, and we will be studying the morphology, anatomy, and different systems of the cockroach. So scientific name of cockroach is Periplaneta americana. This is the one which is mostly found in the India particularly, right? So Periplaneta americana is the one which is mostly found in the India. It is coming under the class Insecta and phylum Arthropoda. Okay, so it's under kingdom Animalia. So class Insecta, phylum Arthropoda, and kingdom Animalia. Normally they are basically seen in brown and black colored, but in some mainly tropical regions, the different colors like red, yellow, and green color of cockroaches are also reported. So they are found in different colors, okay, different shades. Now the morphologically we can say they have got long antenna. We can differentiate from the other organisms, like they would be having a long antenna which is present in the anterior part of the body, and legs, they will be having 6 legs, or we can say they have got 3 pair of legs, and hence they are called arthropoda, right? And all these 6 legs will be connected, so they are called as arthropoda. And flat extension of the upper body wall that conceals the head. Now if you will be observing the cockroach, what will you see? The whole dorsal part. See, there are 2 parts, dorsal part and the ventral part. Dorsal part is the part which we can say is the superficial part of the cockroach which is observed to us. It is the upper part, we can say, right? The one which is observed to us, where the wings are present. That's the dorsal part. And the ventral part, we can say the dorsal part is that part which is present towards the sky, and the ventral part is that part which is present towards the earth, towards the land. Okay, so we can see the dorsal part of the cockroach will be covered with a single shield, a flat single shield, right? We can see. So that is the whole of his body is basically covered with the chitinous structures. We will see that. Normally it's a nocturnal omnivorous. You know, it can eat both the it can depend on the vegetation also, and it also can be depend on the other organisms as well. And it is nocturnal in nature. It is more active in night. So you will be observing the whenever you switch off the lights, later on you will find out the cockroaches will be moving outside of your kitchen and all that. So they are also mainly found in damp places, the places where you mainly see the hygiene is not maintained. These are the main site of finding the cockroaches, and they are known to be vectors of various diseases. So we should be basically avoiding avoiding them in our particularly residential areas and even the other areas. So because they are responsible for carrying some diseases as well. Now let us discuss the morphology. So morphology, if you know that it's basically the study of the external structure of organism. So when we see morphologically, the organism is divided into three parts, that is head, thorax and abdomen. Head, thorax and abdomen. Head, thorax and abdomen. So let me show you what all these three parts are. So here you can see this part is my head, this part is the head, okay, and this just below this, so this part is my head, this part is the head. Below this head, all this region is my thorax. This is my thorax, okay, right from here. This is thorax, this is thorax, and this is also thorax. So this part is thorax. This it's starting from here to here. This is thorax, and this part is abdomen. Right from here to here, this part is my abdomen. Okay, so we can say we can morphologically divide the whole cockroach into three parts. That is head. Head is connected with this thorax with the help of neck, and this thorax, and the posterior part we can say the abdomen. Okay, and it is covered by exoskeleton. Exoskeleton, like we have seen in the case of the higher animals like human beings and the other vertebrates, right? They have got endoskeleton. The skeleton tissue will be present inside a body. But in the case of insects, mainly the arthropoda, their skeleton will be present outside the body, and hence they will not be having any structural framework inside the body, right? So they have got exoskeleton, and this exoskeleton is responsible for covering the whole body and made up of chitin. Chitin is a type of polysaccharide, you would be knowing that, right? So it is also found in fungi as well, fungi cell wall. So it is made up of chitin, and chitin is one of the hard substance known in nature. Okay, so it is having exoskeleton which is made up of chitin. Now when we see the cockroaches, you will be able to see there are a lot of scaly structures are observed. So there are mainly we can say the sclerites, we can call them as sclerites. What are sclerites? These are hardened plates of exoskeleton. This exoskeleton will be forming different flattened structures, right, which is called as sclerites. So hardened plates of exoskeleton in each segment. So we have seen there are different segments present over here, and all these segments will be having this sclerites, which are nothing but exoskeletons part. Okay, so these are hardened plates of exoskeleton in each segment that are joined to each other by a thin and flexible atricular membrane. Atricular membrane is like it's a membrane which will be fusing these plates. Okay, so sclerites are the hardened plates of exoskeleton which are joined together with the help of atricular membrane, and this sclerites are again fused together with the help of arthroidal membrane. So the thin and flexible membrane that joins the sclerites of each segment. Okay, so here we have seen this is the one segment, this is the second segment, this is the third segment. So different segments are there, and each segment will be having the sclerites. This sclerites will basically flattened exoskeleton plates which are connected with each other. You have to note it down. The sclerites are connected with each other. The sclerites are connected with each other with the help of articular membrane. Okay, and the sclerites of one segment is also connected with the sclerites of other segment. Okay, the sclerites of one segment will be connected with the sclerite of other segment with the help of arthroidal membrane. So here we have seen two membranes, that is the articular membrane and the arthroidal membrane. The articular membrane is responsible for connecting the two sclerites of same segment, while the arthroidal membrane is responsible for connecting the sclerites of two different segments. That's the difference, right? So you have to note it down. Now the sclerites can be present in both the surfaces, as we have already seen the two surfaces, dorsal and ventral. The sclerites which are present towards the dorsal surfaces are called as tergites. Right? It has to be mentioned. They are called as tergites, while the sclerites which are present or which are found towards the ventral part are called as sternites. Okay, are called as sternites. So we are what are tergites? Tergites are the sclerites which are found at the dorsal part, right? While the sternites are the sclerites which are found towards the ventral part. And we have also seen sclerites. What are sclerites? As exoskeleton plates, okay, and connect with each other with the help of articular membrane, and this intersegmental sclerites are connected with each other with the help of the arthroidal membrane. Okay, so that was about the external structure. Here you can see the different segments, different parts, that's head, thorax and the abdomen. Now let us start with the head. Now head is triangular in nature and is lying at the anterior part of the cockroach. Okay, and this head will be connected with the thorax with the help of a neck, and this neck is responsible for the flexibility of the head. So head can move in all the directions. Because of the flexibility of this neck. Okay, and this head is present at the 90 degree of the longitudinal body axis. So we can see here, this is the head. This is the, here you will not be able to see exactly that 90 degree how it is there, but you can understand the head can be moved in all the direction, and it will be present at the 90 degree of it will be just moving downward, like it will be oriented towards the downwards, and will be observed as a 90 degree to the longitudinal axis downwards. Okay, so this head is formed by the fusion of 6 segments. We told that each region is basically having different segments, and each segments. So in the case of head region has got 6 segments. Okay. The head capsules bears a pair of compound eyes. Here we can see this is my head, and this head will be having the compound eyes over here. These compound eyes are not exactly so sensitive in nature. They will not be able to see the things very clearly, but they will be consisting a lot of miniature eyes. So we can say we will be discussing about these eyes as well in the nervous system. So these eyes are basically the same. Single eyes will be consisting of around 100 eyes. Okay, and this is called as compound eyes. But these are sensitive to lights. They are not sensitive too much to see. They are not able to observe so much, but they are sensitive to light. Okay, and hence they are inactive during the day and active during the night, and hence they are nocturnal in nature. And just before this eye, they are also having a structure, a pouch-like structure through which this antenna are getting erected. This antenna are present at the base, and at the base it has got specific pouch-like structure which is present just near to the compound eye. So the head capsule bears a pair of compound eyes, and antenna arises from the membranous sockets that lie in the front of the eyes, just as I told you. Antennas are responsible for sensing particularly the environment. Okay, and antenna have sensory receptors that sense the changes in the environment, as I told you. So what antennas function? Antenna is responsible for sensing the changes which are occurring inside around the cockroach. And how does it sense it? With the help of sensory receptors. So anterior end of the head bears mouth parts that have appendages specialized for biting and chewing. Now we can see this is the mouth part. This is the mouth part. Now you can see this is 90 degree actually. This is the whole bended. This is the way it is bended. Now I can draw it right now. So how it is? This is the body. This is the body of cockroach. Okay, and this is the head of cockroach. So here we can see this is longitudinal axis of the body, and this is the axis of my head. So these both are connected with each other by forming a 90 degree angle. So we can say they are forming a 90 degree angle, or we can say right angle, right? So this is about the position of head. Now when we see this head, just a minute. When we see this head, so this head has the anterior part of this head. This is the anterior part of this head. The anterior part of head contains the mouth. It consists of mouth, and this mouth will be having different appendages, which are responsible, different parts or appendages which are responsible for biting and chewing. Okay, so let us say it has got 2 lips. This is the labrum. Labrum is represented as an upper lip. Okay, here you can see it is upper lip. Okay, while the other one is the lower lip. The lower lip consists of 3 parts. That is the mandible. This one, in the center, we can see the brown part. It is the mandible. While this is the maxilla. This maxilla is present. We can say it's a pair of maxilla is present. Pair of maxilla and pair of mandible are present, which are present at the lower side to the labrum, but laterally, both the sides will be present, right? So a pair of maxilla and pair of mandible, and a labium. So here we can see in a proper way. So here, okay, here we can see this is the maxilla, which is present, is a part of a lower lip and present lateral side, and this is the mandible. It's again a part of a lower lip responsible for grinding and incisions. Okay, forming incisions. And this is the labium. It is also part of the lower lip. These 3 parts are the lower lip. Okay, and this is labrum, which is single, and it is represented as a upper lip. Now this all forms the opening of the mouth, Okay, opening of the mouth, and responsible for biting and chewing of the substances, which food substances which is taken up by the cockroaches. Now it will be also having the cavity of this mouth will be also having a hypopharynx structure, a structure called as hypopharynx, which will be functioning as an, or which will be, which can be called as a type of tongue, which can be called as a type of tongue. Okay, so here we can see again, the anterior end of the head bears mouth parts that have appendages specialized for biting and chewing. Labrum is represented as the upper lip, while the mandibles, pair of mandible, it means two mandible will be there. Maxillae and labium will be single. Are representing the three appendages are representing the lower lip, while a median flexible lobe, the flexible like the tongue, acting as a tongue, hypopharynx, lies within the cavity enclosed by the mouth parts. So this all the mouth parts. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so this mouth parts will be enclosing this hypopharynx, which is functioning as a flexible tongue. Okay, now this was about the head region. Now the second part is the thorax. Okay, so thorax is again divided into three different parts. That is the prothorax, which is anterior part, mesothorax, which is the middle part, and the metathorax, which is the posterior part. So the prothorax is basically towards the head region, and the metathorax is towards the abdomen region, while the mesothorax is the in mid of both the prothorax and metathorax, right? The head is connected to the thorax by the neck, and this neck is a part of prothorax. You have to make sure, it may be asked, the neck is a part of prothorax. Okay, and each thoracic segments bear a pair of walking legs. Now this is important. Now here you can see the prothorax. Okay, you can see this prothorax has got a leg. One more leg will be at that side as well. So we can say pair of leg is present, and the mesothorax will be also having a pair of leg, and the metathorax will be also having a pair of leg. So all the thoracic part will be having the legs, pair of legs arising from this, all the three parts of the thorax. Okay, meso, pro, and metathorax, right? So but when we say about the wings, so the wings will not be arising from all the three parts. This is important, the question may be asked. So the pair of legs will be arising from all the three parts, all the three regions of the thorax, but the wings will arising only from the two regions, that is the mesothorax and the metathorax. So here this will be arising from the mesothorax and the metathorax, right? The wing which is present on the mesothorax is comparatively bigger in size, and it will be brown, leathery, and opaque. The wing which is here you can see the wing which is arising from the mesothorax is comparatively big, and it is opaque, leathery, and brown in nature, right? While the wing which is arising from the metathorax part, is smaller, and it's not opaque. It is basically transparent and thinner, and it is the one which is responsible for flying particularly. And so we can say the wings, this is also called as hind wings. And when at rest, when the cockroach is at rest, what will happen? The upper wing is also called as tegmina. So this upper wing, or the tegmina wing, or we can say mesothoracic wing, will be enclosing this hind wing. So when the cockroach is at rest, the hind wing will not be observed. Hind wing will be enclosed by this tegmina. Okay, so but you don't have to confuse. They will be containing two pair of wings which are rising from the mesothorax and the metathorax, right? So here we can see again the two pair of wings are present. The first pair arises from the mesothorax, and the second pair arising from the metathorax. The first pair is called as tegmina, the four wings, or the mesothoracic wings of the cockroach. They are opaque, dark, and leathery. It's very important. They are opaque, dark, and leathery. They cover the hind wings when at rest. When at their rest, they will be covering them. And the hind wings, they are the metathoracic wings. They are transparent, membranous, and are used in flight particularly. And they will be enclosed by the tegmina when the cockroach is at rest. So this was about the thorax part. Okay, so I hope there is no doubt. Now the abdomen. So the abdomen will be consisting of total 10 segments. The abdomen will be consisting of total 10 segments. Okay, so here we can see this is a bit differences between the male and female abdomen. There will be a bit difference between the male and female abdomen. So first of all, let us see the female abdomen. So in the case of female abdomen, the seventh sternum, the sternums are the segments we can say. Here we can see the seventh sternum will be forming a boat-like structure. Keep it mind, in the case of both male and female, they'll be having the 10th segment. Okay, and in the case of females, this seventh sternum will be forming a boat-like structure, while over here you can have it's a small in nature. It is small. It is dorsally placed. It is ventrally placed, right? So it will be forming a boat-like structure. Okay, and form a brood or genital pouch. Next, after the seventh, 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th and 9th, all these three segments, all the three sternums are responsible for formation of the brood, or we can say genital pouch. Now what is the genital pouch? This genital pouch is that part of the female cockroach, which will be having different genital organs, genital reproductive parts, reproductive parts of that female cockroach, which is also taking part in the reproduction. And we'll be discussing about them in the reproduction system of the cockroach, okay, in detail. So the female gonophore, the gonophore is that part through which basically it receives the male gametes. The gonophore, the female gonophore is that part from which the female will be receiving the male gametes. And spermatical pores are again there is a spermatical pouch which receives the sperms. And collateral glands are present in the anterior part of the brood. So we'll see all this, what are the collateral glands, what are the gonophore, what are the spermatical pores during the reproductive system of the cockroach. But right now you just have to note down that all the 7th, 8th, 9th, these three sternums will be responsible for formation of genital pouch, or we can say brood, which will be consisting all in their reproductive structures, right? Now when we say about the male's genital pouch or chamber is present at the hind end of the abdomen, like 9th and 10th terga. Okay. So here the male reproductive parts are again found at the terminal sternum, that is 9th and 10th, particularly at the hind end of the abdomen. The 9th and 10th terga bind genital pouch dorsally. Okay, so the 9th and 10th terga will be responsible for binding the genital pouch, which is again present towards the ventral side, but it will binding them to the dorsal side as well. The genital pouch is bound ventrally by the 9th sternum. Okay, so here in the case of males, this is the dorsal part. We will be able to see the diagrammatic representation well in the reproductive system. So here in the 9th sternum will be having the genital pouch in the ventral side, right? While the 9th and 10th segment will be almost fused in the dorsal side and will be the one which will be covering the genital pouch. Okay, the dorsal part contains the anus. Again, you know the anus is the terminal region of the alimentary canal through which the things are released out. The male genital pore is ventral, right? So the anus is present towards the dorsal part, while the male genital pore, through which the gametes will be released, will be present towards the ventral part. The pouch also contains the gonophysis. Gonophysis is that part which is opening of the, we can say, genital pores, right? Or we can say this is a surrounding area. Now a pair of short thread-like and style are present in males. A pair of short thread-like anal styles are present. These anal styles are only distinguishably present in the males only. You can write it down. These anal styles are only present in the case of males, but in the case of females the anal styles are absent. Here you can see. In the case of males the anal styles are present, which are visible, while in the case of females the anal styles are absent. So anal styles are nothing but a filamentous structures which are present in males only. And the other one is anal cerci. Anal cerci, or we can say anal cerci. Anal cerci is also filamentous structure, but it is found in both male and female. Here you can see this anal cerci. This anal cerci is found in both male and female. So this is something you have to note it down. The anal style will be found only in the case of male, okay, while the anal cerci will be found in both the males and females, and it is a type of sensory organ. It is a type of sensory organs, okay. And so this will be 10th segment of the male and female both, right? So that was about the abdomen. So I hope the things are clear regarding the morphology. So morphology we have studied, like what are the different parts, like head, thorax and the abdomen. The head will be consisting the mouth and the different appendages of the mouth for chewing and biting of the things. And then we have seen the thorax. Thorax will be consisting of three parts, that is prothorax, mesothorax and metathorax, and appendages like the legs over there, attached legs, and the wings, two pair of wings arising from the two parts, mesothorax and metathorax. And the last one was the abdomen, consisting 10 segments, having the female structure and the male structure, and anal style and anal sulci. That was about the morphology of the cockroach. Now let's start with the anatomy. In the anatomy, we'll be discussing about different systems, organ systems present in the cockroach. So first of all, we'll be discussing about the digestive system, or we can say alimentary canal of the cockroach. So the cockroach, the digestive system or the alimentary canal of the cockroach will be divided into three parts. Can be divided into three parts. That is the foregut. Gut means related to stomach, or related to alimentary canal, or we can say related to stomach. So the whole alimentary canal can be divided into three parts. That is the foregut, midgut and hindgut. Foregut, midgut and hindgut. So right now we'll be discussing about the foregut first of all, and then we'll be discussing about the midgut as well. So foregut has got mainly five regions. The first is the mouth. Mouth is the one which is opening of the alimentary canal. So mouth is opening of the alimentary canal and is present in the anterior part of the head. We know that, right? And it opens into a tubular pharynx. Pharynx is that region just comes after the buccal cavity. So here the very big buccal cavity will not be present, but a pharynx part will be observed. Through this pharynx will be opening into tubular structures, into a narrow or short tubular structure called as esophagus. You can see over here. So here when the mouth, after the mouth, we can see it has got the cerebral glands as well. The pharynx, and this pharynx will be now getting converted into the esophagus. And after this esophagus, there will be a sac-like structure. This sac-like structure is called as crop. Now you have to note it down. This crop is basically comparatively, it has got higher diameter, bigger diameter compared to the esophagus and other parts as well, like the midgut and hindgut as well. But this crop does not carry out any function of digestion. It is responsible for storage of food. So here, whatever the things which are uptaken by the cockroach will be stored for a while. So it is functioning as a storage part, right? It is functioning as a storage part. So what we have seen the mouth to pharynx, pharynx to esophagus to crop, where the things are stored. Now after this crop, the main substance, main part comes is the gizzard. Now the gizzard is a specific type of structure which has got inner lining of chitinous structure. So it is lined by the chitinous structure which are called as teeth. So mind it, here the teeth are not present in the mouth region, it is present in the gizzard. So what is gizzard? Gizzard is a sac-like structure, again we can say, which is basically coming just after it's a part of foregut. So gizzard will be responsible for, it has got the chitinous teeth-like structure, and hence it is responsible for grinding and chewing. So here we can say gizzard, also called as proventriculus, has an outer layer of thick circular muscles and thick inner cuticle forming 6 highly chitinous plate called teeth, right? So here the chitinous structures will be responsible for formation of teeth-like structures, right? It helps in grinding the food particles, and the entire foregut is lined by cuticles. This is something important. The question may arise with the help of crop. So you have to note it down. No digestion takes place in the crop, while the gizzard has got the teeth by which the grinding of the food substance which is uptaken can occur. Okay, and this was about the foregut, and whole of the foregut is basically lined by the chitinous structure. Now after the foregut comes the midgut. A midgut consists 6 to 8 blind tubules called the hepatic gastric caecae, and it is very small part. Midgut is comparatively so small part, and it will be basically getting the secretions from this. You can see this tubular structures, this filamentous tubular structures. These are blind tubules. Blind tubules means it will be having only single opening. It won't be having the opening at both the sides. It will be having only single opening, and this opening will be towards this midgut. Okay, so actually they are functioning as a glands. And hence they are secreting different type of enzymes which are responsible for digesting of food substances, right? So they are forming rings, or they are basically carrying the secretions into this midgut, and they are present just at the junction of the midgut and the foregut. So they are present at the junction of, this is my midgut, and and this is my foregut up to the gizzard. So just after the gizzard and just before starting of the midgut, it is present that hepatic CK or gastric CK are present, which will be responsible for secretion of the enzymatic digestive enzymes, and these are present at the junction of the midgut and the foregut. That's important, it may be asked. Okay, now the secrets digest juices, as we have already seen. Now the hindgut is comparatively broader than the midgut. Hindgut is comparatively broader than the midgut, and again it is differentiated into ileum, column, and the rectum. Ileum, column, and the rectum. Ileum is the anterior one, and the column is the middle one, and the rectum will be the last one, which will be opening into the anus. But before this midgut and hindgut, before this hindgut, so there is a junction between the midgut and hindgut. There is again you can see a filamentous structures, again a ring of filamentous structure which is arising from this between the junction of the midgut and the hindgut, right, starting from ileum and ending of this midgut. We can see these structures, these filamentous structures. These filamentous structures are called as Malpighian tubules. These are called as Malpighian tubules, and there are 150 to 200 Malpighian tubules which are surrounding this particular region, and these are called as Malpighian tubules and responsible for excretion. These are responsible for excretion. So they will be releasing out the waste material which are basically produced in the body of the cockroach. So they will be releasing out the waste material which will be produced in the body of a cockroach. So how they will be getting it out? So they are responsible for removal of excrete products from the hemolymph. Now the hemolymph is similar to the blood in the case of higher animals. So we have seen the blood consisting of plasma and blood cells. Similar to that, the hemolymph is also a fluid which is analogous to blood and containing plasma and some cells. The cells are called as hemocytes. And this fluid will be called as hemolymph, right? But this will be colorless in nature. We will see in the further discussion. They will be colorless. So what do this hemolymph do? It's a fluid analogous to blood. It circulates the remaining direct contact. It remains in direct contact with the animal tissues. We'll see about in the next topics as well. It's composed of fluid plasma in which hemolymph cells and hemocytes are suspended. So as we already seen, it's similar to the blood in the case of higher animals. Okay, so that was about the digestive system. Okay, we have seen the foregut, midgut, and hindgut, Malpighian tubules, and gastric CK, and gizzard, crop, esophagus, pharynx, and mouth. That was different parts of the anatomy, digestive system of the cockroach. Okay, next one will be the circulatory system. So we know that circulatory system. Circulatory system, as we can come to know by the name itself, it consists of all the parts of the body which are responsible for circulation of the fluid, which is helping for transportation of the substances across the body, right? So here the type of circulatory system which is present is open circulatory system. So we know that the two type of circulatory system is that open and closed specifically. So in the case of closed circulatory system, the blood will be flowing within the closed vessels, while in the case of open, they will not be having a properly developed blood vessels, right? So here there will be no properly blood vessels developed, and hence there will be a cavity, and this cavity is called a hemocoel, and this hemocoel will be having the pool of the hemolymph, within which these different organs are suspended and they will be bathing in. So the visceral organs are present in hemocoel, that cavity. They are surrounded by and are in direct contact with the hemolymph, the fluid which is responsible for the transportation of substances, analogous to blood. So what is happening over here? Unlike the higher animals, we do not have any type of particular. Here we can see, here we do not have any type of particular blood vessels. So this, all the orange part you can see, is basically the hemocoel cavity. We can say this is the hemocoel cavity, and it will be consisting of the hemolymph, which is analogous to blood. And these different visceral organs will be present within them, and will be directly in contact with the blood, okay, with the hemolymph. Okay, now there is a particular type of vascular system like heart structures. So here the heart structure is this, it's a dorsal midline is muscular extended midline. Okay, so here we can say this is a muscular extension of glandular structures is called as heart. It has got around 13 lobes. It has got around 13 lobes. And it extends from the anterior part to the posterior part, continue through the different segments. Okay, now this heart will be responsible for pumping of circulation of the hemolymph across this body. Now this heart, the lateral sides will be having some slits, or we can say openings present on them. These openings are called as osteoles. These openings are called as osteoles, and these osteoles will be also in connection with this sinuses. Sinuses are these regions which are basically present. It's a cavity which will be having the hemolymph, and this will be containing the hemolymph. And hemolymph, what will happen, all the hemolymph will be getting inside this heart from the posterior side, and that will be pumped to the anterior side and will be released back to the sinus cavities. And this is how it will be pumped again and again. And the exchange of gases and exchange of fluid substances will be taken place with the help of diffusion, with the help of simple diffusion. Okay, so let us see. So here, so visceral organs are present in hemocoel. They are surrounded by and are direct contact with the hemolymph. We have already seen. The hemolymph is a colorless. It consists of plasma and hemocytes. We have seen. Both plasma and hemocytes are again colorless. Now heart is made up of elongated muscular tube and lies along mid dorsal line of thorax and abdomen. So it is just present at the center of the body, dividing the part into two. Okay, and it consists of 13 funnel shaped chambers. It contains 13 different chambers, funnel shaped chambers. Okay, and having ostia present on both the sides. Ostia, what are ostia? So ostia are the slit like structures opening which are present in this elongated muscular heart. Okay, and the blood will be entering the heart through the ostia from the sinuses, and then it will be pumped out through the anterior sinuses again. So once the blood get inside, just a minute. Once the blood get inside, it will be, once the blood gets inside through the sinuses to the ostia, and then it will be passed to the anterior side, it will be again released back to the sinuses through the ostia. So there will be only single circulation will be occurring, and the diffusion will be taking place between the cells and the hemolymph. Okay, and due to diffusion, the transportation will be occurring. So that was about the circulatory system of the cockroach. That was about the circulatory system of cockroach. Now we'll be starting with the respiratory system of cockroach. We'll be starting with the respiratory system of cockroach. Okay. So now we know that the respiration system, the animals who have got different type of structures for breathing, particularly for exchange of gases. Similarly, in the case of insects, they will be having a specific structure called as spiracles. They will be having a specific structure called as spiracles, which are present on the lateral side of the body. So at both the sides, they will be having 10 pairs of small holes, which are called as spiracles. Now the spiracles are small openings, and these are connected with the tracheoles, particularly, which are connected with the tracheoles, and which are connected to the trachea, and this will be taking the gases inside and also will be releasing the gas outside, and hence responsible for breathing. Okay, responsible for the exchange of gases with the surrounding. This type of spiracles are also found in other insects like spider and other, even also found in some fishes and even whales. But internally, they might be connected with different organs. Like it may be connected with the trachea, it may be connected with the lungs, as in the case of whales and all that, right? So the spiracles are the openings present on the lateral side of the insect body. Okay, responsible for exchange of gases. Now they also have another type of part that is called tracheoles. These are the thin branching tubes of trachea that are responsible for carrying the oxygen from the air to all parts of body and again exchange. So here this tracheoles will be thin part of trachea, thin tubular structure, which is responsible for taking the gases from the surrounding to the body and from the body to the surrounding. And sphincters, these spiracles are controlled. This opening and closing of the spiracles are controlled by specific muscular structures called as sphincters. It's a type of sphincter. They will be responsible. They will be functioning as a valve, right? So they will be regulating the opening and the closing of the spiracles, right? So that was about the respiratory system. There is nothing too much to discuss about the respiratory system of the cockroaches, right? And the next one is the excretory system. So we know that excretory system is the organ system which is important for removal of the waste particles. So whenever the different chemical reactions, biochemical reactions taking place inside the different cells of a body, so they will be of course producing waste material which has to be released. Otherwise it would be getting toxic for the cell to cell, and if it is deposited within the cell, it may lead to the death of cell and hence may lead to different type of complexity. So that waste material which is produced has to be removed out. Okay, and this function is carried out by the Malpighian tubules, as we have already seen. Now tell me, what were the Malpighian tubules? You will be knowing that. So Malpighian tubules are the tubules which are present where it's actually located. So between the midgut and the hindgut, right? You know that. And this Malpighian tubules are lined by glandular and ciliated cells. We have already seen glandular epithelium and ciliated epithelium cells, right? So they're responsible for absorption of nitrogen waste products and convert them into uric acid. So whatever the nitrogen waste which is produced during the metabolic reaction will be absorbed over here, and that will be converted into uric acid, and this uric acid will be excreted out through the hindgut. And because as it is releasing out the uric acid, this type of insect, this type of organisms, which this is important, this type of organisms which releases uric acid as the waste, as the excretory waste, are called as uricotelic organisms. These are called as uricotelic organisms. It's important, note it down. So what are uricotelic organisms? These are the organisms which will be releasing out the nitrogen waste in the form of uric acid, okay. And along with this Malpighian tubules, there will be some specific uricose glands and the nephrocytes structures, fat bodies, which are responsible for filtration and excretion. Particularly uricose glands are also part of the excretion system, which are responsible for the formation of uric acid, and they are mainly responsible for even storage of uric acids, even the storage of the nitrogen waste. Okay, that was about the excretory system. Okay, so next important thing is the nervous system, that is the nervous system. So we know that the level of nervous system will be not that much complex as we can see in the higher vertebrates like human beings and other animals, but at this arthropoda level phylum, we can exactly see the structures formed by the network of neurons. So here, rather than brain, there will be the different networks, or we can say networks are formed of which are called as ganglia. What we can call them as ganglia. So what are ganglias? Ganglias are the group of neurons, or we can say the network of neurons, okay, or lump of neurons, we can also say that. So which are responsible for coordinating and controlling the activities of the body, and they will be responsible for sensing the environment and as well other things as well. So we'll see. So nervous system will be not consisting of very complicated structures like brain, spinal cord and all that, but they will be having a primitive form of that particular structure, that is ganglia. So what are ganglia? Ganglia are nothing but fused, or we can say these are the network of, or we can say clumps of the neurons, okay. And these ganglia are fused and arranged segmentally. Different segments will be having different ganglia joined by the paired longitudinal connectives on the ventral side. These are the mainly present towards the ventral side. So these are the, you see over here. So here we can see this is a ganglia. This is a prothoracic ganglia, mesothoracic ganglia, metathoracic ganglia, and here the abdominal ganglia. Okay, so different segments will be there, and different segments will be having different ganglions. This is the ganglion which is present at the most anterior part, and this is called as supraesophageal ganglia, and it is playing a very important role. So three ganglia are present in the thorax. That is the prothoracic, mesothoracic, and the metathoracic, right? And if the one more thing, it's important. If you would have observed, like whenever we cut down the head of, the cockroach, so still after cutting the head off, the cockroach is able to survive for around 6 to 7 days, right? Why? Because although in the case of humans, or in case of high animals, if you cut down their head, they will not be able to survive, because the brain is the part which is responsible for controlling all the activities, right? But in this case, we can say different segments like abdomen region and the thorax region and the head region will be having their own brains or own ganglia. Rather than brain, we call them ganglia. So they are not dependent on the ganglia of the head. So if we cut it down, still the ganglia which are present in the abdomen and the thorax will be remaining there, and hence they can survive for long duration. So if we cut down the cockroach head, so the cockroach is not going to die because of the cutting down of the head, but it will die because it will not be able to eat, because if we cut down the head, it will be also removing out its mouth as well, so it will not be able to eat, and hence it will die due to starvation, right? So it's an important question, it may be asked. Now 3 ganglia are present in thorax region, while 6 ganglia are present in the abdomen region. 6 ganglia are present in the abdomen region, and the brain is present in the head region. This brain is nothing but the represented by the supraesophageal ganglion. Supra means the above, and esophageal matlab the esophagus, the ganglion which is present above the esophagus is called a supraesophageal ganglion, which supplies the nerves to the antenna and the compound eyes. So the supraphageal ganglion is one responsible for the supplying the nerves to the compound eye and the antenna. So supraesophageal ganglion is also called as arthropod brain, or we can say microbrain. It is the first part of central nervous system of arthropods, especially insects. So this is something which we can say primitive form of central nervous system, which is observed in the insects particularly. So comparatively, all the ganglia, when we see them, the supraesophageal ganglion is a bit complex and a bit more sophisticated, right? Next, the sense organs which are present are the antennas, eyes, maxillary palps. Maxillary palps are the region which we have seen the maxillary, mandible, and labrum. So these are the different parts which appendages of the mouth. Just near the maxillar, they will be having some structures which are responsible for recognizing the smell and testing the food. So this will be sensing the smell, particularly having the olfactory receptors present within them, and which will respond to recognizing the smell. Labial palps and anal cerci, as I told you, anal cerci both present in both the male and female, is also responsible for sensing, as a sensing organ. And the eye, when we say eye, it's having a compound eye and presents at the dorsal surface of the head. Each eye is made up of around 2000 hexagonal ommatidae. So single eye will be having around 2000 ommatidia. Ommatidia is nothing but a single eye, we can say, and this all together form a compound eye. This ommatidia help a cockroach to receive several images of an object. Like whenever it sees something, it will be not receiving only single vision, it will be receiving multiple images, and hence this such type of vision is called as mosaic vision. It has increased sensitivity but less resolution. It has got higher sensitivity, but it will not be having higher resolution, right? It is sensitive during night, and hence they are nocturnal in nature. So although it is not that much resolution is possible in the case of the eye, although they are having around 2000 simple unit eyes, or we can say ommatidia, but still the resolution will not be so high, but the sensitivity will be high for the images, but they will be high sensitive for the light, and hence would be not active during the daytime and will be active during the night time only, and hence called as nocturnal animals. Okay, so here it's supraesophageal ganglion and all that, all the ganglions, all that, right? So that was about the nervous system present in the cockroach. Okay, and now we will be starting with the reproduction in the cockroach, reproductive system in the cockroach. Okay, so as we have already seen the different type of organ system present in the cockroach, that is the digestive system and nervous system, excretory system, circulatory system, respiratory system. Now we will starting the last and most important reproduction system in the case of cockroaches. Now these cockroaches are dioecious in nature. Now you have to understand what is dioecious means. There are two terms, that is the monoecious and the dioecious. So dioecious are those organisms which have got single sex or single reproductive structure on single cell. Like the male and female reproductive structure will be on different organism. So the male and female reproductive structures will be present on the different organisms. They will not be present on the same organism, right? So organism which has got same is called as monoecious, like the or hermaphrodite, like the earthworm. We will be seeing them as well. So the cockroaches are dioecious, having the both male and female reproductive structures separately present on the different organisms. Now the male reproductive systems. A pair of testes, one lying in each lateral side between the 4th and 6th abdominal segments. So here we can see. Here we can see the testes are basically lying suspended over here. You can see as a suspended. So it will be lying from 4th to 6th segment of the abdominal region. Okay, and this testis, from this testis there will be the vas deferens will be arising, which will be responsible for carrying the gametes which are formed during this testis. Okay, and this vas deferens will be basically opening into the ejaculatory duct, and this ejaculatory duct will be then opening into the we can say the gonopore. gonopore. We'll see what are the gonopores are. Okay, so here again, okay, so here the pair of testes, one lying in each lateral side between fourth and sixth abdominal segment. Vasa difference arises through each testis. Vasa difference opens into ejaculatory duct through the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle is a specific gland where the sperms will be stored for a while, where the sperms will be stored, okay, and then they will be ejaculated out through the ejaculatory duct, opens into male gonopore, and male gonopore is that opening from which the male gametes will be released out. Okay, so again, here the testis lying in the lying in the both the lateral and both the sides, lateral and the lateral sides, between the 4 to 6 segment, and they will be arising. It will be arising. Vasa difference will be arising from this testis. Will be taking to the seminal vesicles where the sperms will be stored, and then it will be removed and taken to the ejaculatory duct, and then it can be released out with the help of gonopore. Okay, and this gonopore, what are these gonopore? So it's the opening of the ejaculatory duct in the males. It is located into the anus. It is located ventral to the anus. Okay, it's located ventral to the anus. Is mainly found into the dorsal part. Accessory reproductive glands along with this main seminal vesicles, along with they have got other glands as well. Main reproductive gland is the testis. Apart from this, there are other accessory glands as well, like the mushroom shaped gland present in the 6th to 7th abdominal segments. Okay, so here they are present as accessory segment, other glands, which does not have too much roles present in reproduction, but still they will be assisting the reproduction, right? Next is the phalomere. What is phalomere? Right here, see, these are the phalomere, left phalomere and right phalomere and the upper phalomere. These phallomeres are cutaneous structures. These are cutaneous scaly structures which are asymmetric in nature. They won't be present exactly in a symmetry, but they will be present. They are responsible for covering the gonopore. They are responsible for covering this gonopores. Okay, so these are the phallomeres, are the chitinous asymmetrical structures surrounding the male gonopore, mostly responsible for protection. And sperms are produced through these gonopores. When these sperms are produced, they are glued with each other. These are glued with each other, so multiple sperms will produce in at the same time, and these sperms will be glued with each other, forming bundles, and these bundles are called as spermatophores. These bundles are called as spermatophores. You have to keep it in mind. So whenever the sperms are released through this gonopore, they will be basically glued with each other, forming a bundles, and these bundles are called as spermatophores. And these spermatophores will be discharged through the gonopore during the copulation, during the mating with the female insect. Okay, so what we can just revise it. So we have got the male testis, which is lying at both the lateral sides, that is starting from the 4th segment to the 6th segment, and through this testis there will be arising the tubular structure called as vasa difference, and this vasa difference will be opening into the seminal vesicle, which will be responsible for storage of the sperms, and it will be opening into ejaculatory duct, where it will be leading removal of the sperms through the gonopore. Gonopore is the opening through which the sperms are released. These gonopores are again connected or are protected or covered by the asymmetric cutaneous structures called as phallomeres. Okay, phallomeres. That was about this. And these sperms are glued when discharged, and they are called as, these bundles are called as spermatophores. Okay, so this was about the male reproductive system. Now the next is the female reproductive system of the cockroach. Female reproductive system of the cockroach. Female reproductive system of the cockroach. Okay, so the female will be having 2 large ovaries lying laterally in the 2nd and 6th abdominal segment. So over there that was lying between the 4th to 6th. Over here it will be lying between the 2nd to 6th abdominal segment, and each ovary consists of a group of 8 ovarian tubules. Now here you can see this is the ovaries which are rising from the 2nd to 6th segment, and they will be having these lines. You can observe these lines are nothing but ovarian ducts, right? These are called as ovarioles. The ovarian tubules which are called as ovarioles. Okay, and these ovarioles will be consisting of developing chain of ova. It will consisting a chain developing of ova. Okay, so this is the ovary belonging from 2 to 6 segment, and each will be having ovariole, and this ovariole will be having this chain of ova, which now this ovary will be opening into a common duct called as oviduct. Okay, and this common oviduct is also called as this oviduct will be arising from both the both the ovaries, and they will be getting fused to form a common oviduct, which is also called as vagina, okay. And this vagina will be then opening into the genital pouch. It will opening into genital pouch, and it will be having the genital pouch will be again also having the opening from the different other parts, like the collateral glands. These are the glands which are responsible for different purpose. We will just discuss them as well. And it will be also having the opening of the what we can say this as a spermatheca. Spermatheca is that part where the sperms are stored, okay. And so let us see again. So each ovary consists of a group of 8 ovarian tubules called as ovarioles, and these ovarioles will be having the chain of developing ova. Oviducts of each ovary comes together to form a single median oviduct also called as vagina, and opens into genital chamber. This vagina or this oviduct, common oviduct, will be opening into genital chamber. A pair of spermatheca opens into genital chamber as well, and it is present in 6 segments. So we have seen this is the spermatheca. This spermatheca will be also opening into it will be present in the pair. It will be also opening into this genital chamber, and this is called as present in the 6th segment, okay. And now the spermatheca is a sac for storing the sperms in the female reproductive structure. I told you, right? It is it's a sac which is responsible for storing the sperms in the female reproductive tract, and present in various lower animals. Also, it is also found in other animals as well. The sperms are transported as spermatophores. We have already seen the sperms which are released from the cockroach. Male cockroach will be present as a bundles and called as spermatophores. This spermatophores will be transported within the female body, okay, and this eggs will be fertilized. The site of fertilization will be the vestibulum. So once this are over here, they will be getting fertilized with the help of ovum, and this ovum, and this after fertilization they will be called as ootheca. So once these eggs are fertilized, these are enclosed in capsules which are called as ootheca. Okay, so once these spermatophores are getting inside the vestibulum, they will be coming in contact with the ovum and getting fertilized, and this fertilized egg will be covered with a cutaneous structure, but will be covered and forming capsules which are called as ootheca. And this ootheca will be now released. This ootheca will be released outside the body, and which will be attached to a different proper surface, suitable surface, mainly the surface which is near to the nutrients and water and all that things, so that the developing zygote present within them can develop properly, okay, and can get the nutrition in sufficient time. Okay, so ootheca is a large dark reddish or to blackish brown capsule of around 8 mm long. They are laid or attached to suitable surfaces. On average, 9 to 10 ootheca are produced by females. On average, 9 to 10 ootheca are produced by the females, and each ootheca contains around 14 to 16 eggs which are fertilized now. And the development of egg is porometabolous. A porometabolous is something where the complete metamorphosis is not occurring. So here this ootheca is a sort of capsule from which a new organism will be developing, which will be the miniature of the adult. Okay, so here the metamorphosis is not occurring, the larval stage is absent. So whenever the young organism will be arriving, it will be similar to the adult one, okay, but small in size, and that stage is called as nymph stage. What is it? It is called as nymph stage. Okay, so what are porometabolous development? It is a form of incomplete metamorphosis where the development involves a nymph stage. What is metamorphosis? Metamorphosis is a type of development where the organism develops from the larva, cocoon, larva, and all that, right? But here in this case, the nymph stage is present, no larva stage is present. Okay, what is nymph? Nymph is a stage where the immature form of organism resembles the adult in appearance but in smaller size. So it will be although looking similar to that adult but will be smaller in size. Okay, and let us see the economical importance of cockroaches. Right now we don't find any economical importance, so they are not having any particular beneficial activity for human beings, and not in the chain as well, food chain as well. Some are the pests. We are basically causing destruction of the crops and all that, and particularly stored crops, stored grains, and it may contaminate the food by they carry different type of substances along with them. They are also vectors of different bacterial borne diseases. Okay, so this is something which is not appreciable or not required for us. So they do not carry out any important role in our life particularly. So this was about the systems which we have seen. So what we have seen, just we can revise it first. So what is it? we have seen the cockroach is phylum Arthropoda, phylum for Arthropoda and class Insecta, where it is present. Morphology we have seen: head, thorax, abdomen, sclerites, and it's an exoskeleton which is flattened, arthrodactyl membrane which is connecting the articular membrane which is connecting the sclerites, which is present in the same segment, while the arthrodactyl membrane is connecting the sclerites which are present in different segments. And then tergites are the one which are present dorsal, while the sternites are the one which are present towards the ventral side. Okay, and then we have seen the head region, which is triangular and 90 degree to the longitudinal axis, and it's formed by the 6 segments and connected with the neck, and has got eye and antenna. And it will be having the mouth region will be having different appendages. The upper part will be having labrum, and the lower parts will be having the mandible pair and the maxilla pair and the labium, and tongue-like structure is called as hypopharynx, which will be basically suspended within the cavity of the mouth. And the thorax region will be having the prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax, through which all the region of this thorax will be basically having the legs, appendages. Okay, but only the two meso and metathorax will be having the wings. The mesothorax will be leathery wing and brown and opaque, while the metathorax will be transparent, thin, and responsible for the light. Okay, hind wing is also called as hind wing. And later on we have seen abdomen, which consists of 10 segments. In the case of female and male, we can differentiate on the basis of the size and fusion of the sternum. The males will be also having a specific structure called as anal style, while the females will be not having that. Anal cerci will present in both the male and female. Okay, responsible for the sensory, or it's functioning as sensory organs. Now, in the anatomy, we have started with the digestive system, where foregut, midgut, and the hindgut. The foregut consists of the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, crop, which is responsible for storage of the food particles, and then the gizzard. Gizzard is the something which is responsible for grinding the food materials, and it will be lined with the teeth, which are nothing but cutaneous structures. And the whole of the foregut will be cutaneous, lined with the chitin. Okay, lined with the chitin. And this midgut and the foregut, between this midgut and foregut junction will be there, which will be having hepatic sacae, which are hepatic sacae, also called as gastric sacae, which will be secreting the digestive enzymes. And afterwards, which will be having the midgut. Midgut will be consisting of which the digestion will take place. And after the midgut junction between the midgut and hindgut will be malpighian tubules, responsible for the excretion. Okay, and then the ilium colon and rectum, and then the anus. And then we have seen the hemolymph, which is analogous to blood, hemocytes, analogous to blood cells, and the plasma is also present. Circular system, open type of circular system, hemocyl cavity, and this will be this extended muscular chamber, different, having multiple chamber in present in the heart, which will be having osteols present, through which the blood will be circulated with the sinuses. Okay, and it will be transporting the substance with the help of diffusion, simple diffusion. Respiratory substance system will be consisting of spiracles and tracheoles, and the trachea, and the sphincters will be also present. Sphincters will be responsible for regulating the opening closing of spiracles, and the excretory system will be carried out with the help of Malpighian tubules lined with the glandular and ciliated epithelials. And also this will be releasing the nitrogen waste in the form of uric acid, and hence called as uricotelic animals. Okay, nervous system consists of ganglia, and different ganglia are present in different segments. Like in the head, it is supraesophageal ganglia, which is responsible for controlling the receiving the signals from the antenna and also the compound eye. Okay, it gives a signal to them. So if we cut the head off, it will still survive for a few days, right? Because it is not dependent on that brain only. It is also called as microbrain. Okay, or because the arthropod brain, the supraesophageal ganglia. Okay, and it will be basically present in different segments. Okay. Next was just a minute. Okay, compound eyes. The compound eyes are actually the eyes which will be consisting of lot of multiple hexagonal ommatidia. Ommatidia is a single eye which will be having high sensitivity or low resolution, and hence it will be having high line sensitivity as well. they are sensitive to light as well, so the cockroaches tends to move outside or get active during the night phase, that is they are nocturnal nature. Then male reproductive structures consisting of the testes from 4th to 6th abdominal segment, and will be arising the vessel difference from which the gametes will be taken to the seminal vesicles where they are stored, and through the seminal vesicles it will take into the ejaculatory duct, and through the gonopore it will be released out. When they are released out, their sperms will be released out through the gonopore. When they are released out, they will be glued with each other, and that bundle is called as spermatophore. This spermatophore will be getting inside the female body during the copulation, and the female body will be consisting of ovaries, which are extending from the 2nd segment to the 6th segment, and will be having ovarioles, which will be having consisting of the developing ovum, chain of developing ovum. Okay, and this ovary will be having the ovary ducts, which will be fusing together to the common ovary duct, which is also called as vagina, which will open into the genital chamber. Genital chamber will be also receiving the opening of the colorectal glands, which are accessory glands for the reproduction, and also receiving the opening from the spermatheca. Now this when the sperms are getting inside the vestibulum, they will get fertilized and will develop a ootheca. Each ootheca will be consisting around 14 to 16 eggs. Okay, and this ootheca will be laid down in the proper place where the nutrients are available and the organism can develop. And the development is basically parametabolous, where the new organism, the younger one, is resembling the adult, but it is small in size. No metamorphosis take place, and that stage is called as nymph stage, where the organism is immature but still resembling the adult but small in size. And the cockroaches are not found any type of important in daily life particularly, but they may carry out some negative effect like contaminating the food and destroying the food crops, and also carry the bacterial diseases. Okay, and that was about the cockroach. Okay, now we'll be starting with the earthworm.